Welcome to Meet JMT, Insights from Within, a series that introduces our industry professionals and provides them the opportunity to share their professional experiences, personal reflections, and sources of inspiration as individuals working in the architecture, engineering, and construction sectors.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another Meet JMT podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I'm your host and digital marketing manager here at JMT. Today, we have Nick DiPaolo joining us in celebration of GIS Day, otherwise known as Geographic Information Systems Day. Nick is the director of Geospatial Solutions for our JMT Technology Group, and he is based out of our Philadelphia, Pennsylvania office. Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. Could you share a little bit more about your role at JMT? And also for those who may not be familiar with what GIS Day is, could you explain a little bit more about what it is and what it personally means to you?
Hey, Jennifer, and thanks for having me on. I am the director of Geospatial Solutions. That can be a tongue twister for the technology group. It's a fancy way of saying GIS. So just think of GIS in terms of maps you use on your phone, like Google Maps, or on your iPhone, the iMap. I manage the GIS team. It's about 25 GIS professionals. But our group supports all of the GIS needs of the entire organization, not just the projects that TG supports. Within JMT's GIS ecosystem, we have approximately 400 GIS users. So that ranges from desktop users in ArcMap or ArcGIS Pro, if you're familiar with those applications, or web users in ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. And we're here to celebrate GIS Day. And for us map geeks, GIS Day is every day. I use air quotes for map geeks. Mapping is part of every facet of our lives, and I think GIS Day takes a moment to recognize that. We associate GIS as a map, often a paper one. But think about our phones. They're a huge part of how we work and stay connected. And those phones really represent the new age of GIS, as GIS is really woven into almost every aspect of them. We can see the correlation with mapping apps like Waze, but almost every app on your phone requires location permissions, which really shows the true power of location-based data. Being a part of promoting and developing GIS technology and how it impacts our lives on a daily basis means a lot to me. And it's part of what motivates me each day. I'm also a volunteer firefighter, and GIS has many uses in public safety and emergency response. JMT has provided me the opportunity to work on public safety projects where I get to work on both my passions at the same time.
Well, thank you so much for that additional introduction and giving us a little bit of a backstory about what GIS Day means. What inspired you to choose your professional career?
I've always been drawn to science. My undergrad at Rutgers was in environmental science. I took several elective classes on GIS, and I found I was actually good at it compared to other subjects like physics, calculus, and dendrology, which is the study of trees. I quickly learned that I liked walking in the forest, but I did not like trying to identify which tree was which, and I was really bad at it, actually. Finding this niche in GIS through those classes, and back then GIS was still very, very new, it led to a GIS internship at the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Then that led to my first job as a tech, and before I knew it, I had a full-blown career in GIS.
I think it's interesting that you've always had this interest in science and technology and the overall industry, and it's great that you were able to really fulfill a career in your area of passion and expertise. Can you tell us about a significant project you've handled and how that may have impacted JMT or the architecture, engineering, construction, or technology industries as a whole?
Great question. Over the last year or so, I've worked with others in the technology group and our DCoE to promote GIS innovations with augmented reality and virtual reality, also known as AR/VR for short. We've identified specific use cases where AR/VR can integrate with GIS, LiDAR, and 360 image cameras to help solve issues our CMCI staff face daily. For example, there's tools that they can help with identifying utility conflicts in the field, project documentation, and digital as-builts. These are really powerful tools, and we're working currently with several teams across JMT to utilize AR/VR on these projects.
Is there a specific project that has stood out to you so far? And can you tell us about how AR/VR has really made an impact?
Rolling out new technology and innovation to a large organization like JMT doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to develop proof of concepts, identify meaningful use cases where the technology can solve real problems our staff face on a daily basis. It's one thing to have technology that's new and innovative, but if we don't have a real use case behind it, it really just becomes a shiny new toy. So we really have to create value there. So we've really worked hard at developing those use cases with folks in the field. To meet these challenges, we've been very fortunate in two ways. First, leadership has provided us the resources to explore these innovative solutions, understanding that it takes time for an organization to fully adopt them. Second, we've worked with some great people within the CMCI groups. I call them our technology champions, and they see real value in bringing GIS and ARV tools to the project site. These early adopters are crucial to getting a new technology solution off the ground, and they've been a huge help in driving innovation at JMT. We've been working with teams in Virginia Beach and Pittsburgh, and even with clients like PennDOT and at the Philadelphia Airport to really drive this initiative. So stay tuned for intranet posts in the new year highlighting some of these projects where we can showcase more of this content and provide you a visual, what it means to have utility conflict detections or how to work off of a LiDAR scan to really tighten up your as-built with a digital deliverable. And if anyone listening is interested, I'd be glad to schedule a demo. Like I said, Jennifer, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't, put in some useless plugs here. So please, and if anybody's really interested, I'd love to kind of show you this stuff offline.
It's truly exciting to see the progress we've made and are continuing to make with innovative technologies at JMT. I couldn't agree more with the approach of really taking the time to develop and refine these solutions. Outside of your professional career, are there any hobbies or interests that you feel have really influenced your professional journey?
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a volunteer firefighter for about 20 years. Beyond normal fire calls through the years, I've been fortunate enough to respond to some really large-scale events like Hurricane Harvey, Florence, and Sandy, and to the large BP Gulf oil spill back in 2010. Being a part of these responses showed me how America really can rally to support each other in time of need, and that GIS is a powerful tool to help support these operations. During my career, GIS has become a fundamental tool in emergency response. Nationwide, 9/11 systems are being overhauled and upgraded from older analog technology to where GIS mapping functions serve as the backbone of 911 operations. JMT has supported several projects to update GIS data for Next Gen 911 in Pennsylvania and Maryland. I was the PM on some of these projects, and it really helped me grow in my career at JMT and into my current role as director. Also, aside from the firefighting, I'm an avid person who does exercise. I'd like to do CrossFit, hiker, and a runner. Anything that I can do functional fitness to just stay fit and also help me when I'm on the fire ground is another big hobby of mine.
It's inspiring that you find time outside of your daily work at JMT to volunteer as a firefighter. I also appreciate how your projects have not only contributed to Next Gen 911, but also let you really follow your passions. I want to thank you for sharing your story with us today and for being on the Meet JMT podcast. But before we leave, are there any closing thoughts or even words of wisdom that you would like to leave our listeners with, especially those looking to enter the technology industry?
Jennifer, thanks for having me on the Meet JMT podcast to celebrate GIS Day. In closing, GIS is way more prevalent across JMT than some may realize. Across all of our GIS platforms, enterprise, online, and desktop, as I mentioned earlier, we have over 400 users. And the great thing is we have the capacity to scale out more. If anyone is interested in learning about GIS at JMT, they can get more information on our GIS intranet page or message us at gis@jmt.com. We have some great content to help those who want to learn more about GIS and technology in general. So have a great GIS day and stay mappy, JMT.
Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed the Meet JMT podcast today. Remember to subscribe, post a review, and of course, encourage your friends and colleagues to do the same.